Okay, hello guys, just like to welcome you to the third Cricket Wales Q&A of lockdown period. As you can see, we are currently with Chris Cooke, and in the background there is TC, Tom Cullen, who decided to jump in the last take. So this is take two, and as an interviewer you've got myself, Roy Smith. Andrew Salter's obviously taken another week off, so you're stuck with me. We are currently back in training. As you can see in the background, you've got Sapphire Gardens. So, Chris, how have you found it first week back?
Yeah, it's been great to get out of the house. Pretty tiring lockdown, so just great to be back. And yeah, a bit of a rusty first few nets, but as you can see, we indoors today because of the weather. So yeah, it's been really good.
What have you been up to in lockdown then?
Not a lot. I thought 150 overs in the dirt was hard work. Having a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old at home for 4 months every day was definitely 100 times harder. A lot of Peppa Pig. So yeah, just really happy to be back.
Bit of golf in there as well, or?
I don't think I've played as much as you trotters, but as soon as they opened, I did get out the house for a few holes, so that was good.
I'm sure you're still a bandit like always, so
Gotta be.
no doubt. New club's going well?
Yeah, they are. Thanks for that. Yeah, a bit of a rip-off from you, but
I thought I gave you a great deal on those, Cookie. Lovely clubs. Okay, so we'll go into the first question. What are the biggest challenges of being a captain?
well, I think I haven't had a full season yet as captain with injury last year and a global pandemic this year. So you might have to ask me in a couple of seasons' time, but I assume it'll be the same as any other captaincy. You know, it's easy when things are going well personally and you're doing well on the field and you can lead from the front, and obviously when you're battling with your own game, then things become a lot harder. So I assume, you know, that those are going to be the same for me, and yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes.
No bowlers that are a bit tough to deal with, one in different fields and being a bit of a pain?
Yeah, there are a few bowlers, but you know, that's par for the course, and you'd hope that the bowlers want to take ownership of their fielding positions. You yourself, pretty easy, you know, you just do what you're told, which is good.
Oh, make your life easy, hopefully. Okay, so next one. How are you finding lockdown? Who cuts your hair?
Take your cap off, Cookie. Take your cap
Go on,
off.
let's give us a look, Chris.
No, I don't want to scare the kids or anyone watching this, so I'll keep my cap on and leave it to the imagination. But yeah, I've had 3 haircuts, so I've saved 45 pounds over lockdown, which I'm pretty chuffed with. So, you know, it's a lot around. First 2 were pretty good cuts from my wife, and I think she got a bit overconfident with the last one, and I think I expected a bit too much from her skill set, which was understandable.
And show her brilliant work.
And she's gone pretty aggressive. So
It's a high line, is it?
it's a pretty high line, pretty high fade. Well, there's no fade, is it? It's just a 0 into the mop. So yeah, we'll leave the cap on.
As you can see in the background, TC's got a bit of a fade line in his hair, so obviously someone's been having a hack at that. But
Yeah,
I think we'll leave that one as well.
New
We'll leave
Mrs.
that.
Denny's making him pack lunches.
We'll leave that. Okay, so what has been the highlight of your career so far?
Oh, I think probably getting to a Lord's final, and just that whole summer we were playing some really good cricket. We had a good team, and I was playing nicely. I had a free roll at the top of the order. So, you know, just to get to the Lord's final, and you know, obviously growing up in South Africa, I didn't know a whole lot about county cricket, but you always knew about the Lord's final, and so to play in that was pretty special. You know, my mum flew out for the day, which was cool. You know, it didn't go to plan the day, but I think that's probably something I'll look back on pretty fondly.
Yeah, nice. There's obviously been a couple of memorable innings over the years. I think I stood at the other end and ran for one of them, which was pretty special. And then your first couple of balls in for Glam were pretty special as well. So
yeah, no, there's been a lot of good memories over the years, and hopefully a few more to come.
nice. What is your favourite first-class venue and your club venue? Favourite club venue?
I've always had a soft spot for the Oval. Just as a keeper and as a batter, you know, you got pace and bounce, and it's always a really nice place to play, and we've had a decent record there lately. So always enjoy playing there, and it's got that sort of London buzz about it, which is cool. And yeah, I know Lords is the history, but for me the Oval's definitely up there. And then the club grounds, Colwyn Bay as a club ground's pretty cool. And obviously we've got the First Class Festival there, so as a Glammy player, it's always special to go up there.
Nice, two good venues. Always Colwyn Bay is always a nice one for batsmen.
Lovely Guinness up there as well.
Yeah, I've heard it's a lovely drop. Were you excited about being chosen to a 100 ball squad? And I believe it's the Birmingham franchise you were picked for. So how are you looking forward to getting up there and involved?
That's been really good. No, I was I was excited at the time of the draft, I guess, as I know a lot of people are against it, and you know that's their opinion. But as professionals, it was always something to aim towards. And the draft was a bit of a nipper, but really good to get in there. And I think it's just recognition, really. You know, you're always in your bubble with your county, and you never quite see how other teams and coaches view you, and you feel like you've done well. But I think to get recognition of getting picked up was probably the most important thing for me, and it would have been nice to be in it this year, and you know, be with the best players in the world and playing against the best players in the world. But obviously wasn't to be, so hopefully we can get it going next year.
Nice. It was a bit of a shame it got cancelled this year, but I'm sure you'll be involved next year. Okay. Do you find it difficult to keep wicket and skipper the team at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I think T's will back me up here. I think as keeper, you're always, you're captaining the side anyway, whether it's in your head or you speaking. You're always looking at what's happening in bowling changes, field placings, and I think the captain's almost just an extension of that in a way. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot more to it than that, and you've got to juggle a few other things off the field, and Matt's been pretty good with taking a bit of the workload off. So, you know, I can concentrate on just what you're in the team to do, which is score runs and catch the ball. But like I said earlier, you know, I've had the injury last year, and this year is obviously with coronavirus, so I haven't had a full season or two doing it, so it's hard to judge how it's going to go. So yeah, maybe you have to ask me in a few seasons' time.
What's the chat like between you and, obviously, you've got Dave Lloyd at first step? Is there a bit of communication between the two of you as the game's going on, or is it just a bit of random chat between you?
Oh, it's very random. We often have Nick Salmon in alongside of us as well, so if he's caught the ball too, then he's pretty chatty. Otherwise, you don't hear from him for the 96 overs. But yeah, it's a decent chat. We all get on. Yeah, not too bad. Had better, had worse.
Who are your best ones then? Who's providing the most amount of chat?
I think when I first started, we had Waggy and Wally in there, so that was pretty decent chat for a time.
Fair enough. Who's the worst then?
Yeah, I mean, Sellers is pretty poor in there, to be honest.
Well, just a lot of horse racing and
yeah,
bats.
It's just pretty mute, and then just goes off on a mad one if he catches it.
Yeah, or is that mad one's probably running round screaming at the top of his voice like he's just taking the wonder catch of the century. Okay, so who was your role model growing up? Obviously, being a Cape Town boy, I think.
Yeah, like you said, being South African and quite an impressionable age with Nelson Mandela in the Rugby World Cup in '95. So he was millions of role models, and I was probably no different growing up. And in the cricketing sense, I guess I had my dad and my two older brothers played, so I used to watch them a lot and look up to them probably, and I assumed I was just bugging them for advice from an early age and getting them to throw to me. So
a bit of backyard cricket then?
Yeah, we lived on a school. My dad was headmaster, so we had the nets and the fields right on our doorstep, so they were, you know, always playing with the boarders and the kids on the school, which was great as a bit of a sport lover.
Yeah, as a boarding school alumni as well, I remember the housemaster's kid getting involved and
yeah, so it was,
kind of checking in whenever he could, and
yeah, so it was ideal.
Yeah, nice. It was. Who would have been your cricket role model then? Would you have had one? Or
maybe someone like, used to love John T Rhodes, and sort of Donald and Cronier, probably those guys.
Yeah, just coming back into Test cricket.
Yeah. And then used to love Boucher as well, also when I got a bit older.
Yeah, he's not bad. Bad one to follow, Boucher.
Yeah.
Interview club.
Oh, we got another joining mesh, but just a final one. So now you're back in training. Are you working on technical stuff, or are you just trying to feel your way back in and trying to build up to the season? Or
yeah, it's just trying to literally feel the way in, I think. It's just getting back into the groove and into the rhythm of batting. Maybe as we get closer to the mesh start of the season, then maybe start, getting a bit picky with stuff. But at the moment, it's just hitting balls and trying to get that rhythm going, I guess.
Has it been a bit competitive with the bowlers coming back, trying to prove a point to you, trying to earn selection, or have they been taking it nice and easy with you?
You tell me. I don't know.
I haven't bowled you yet, Cookie. I've seen Shanna sending down a few rockets so far.
Well, yeah, I had Delanga coming off the blue seats, coupled with Kieran Colson's leggies for the first 2 nets, so that was a bit of a contrast. And then
is Kieran going for a bowling matches? Is he?
Yeah, he's been told just to throw from now on after his first couple of displays. But Hogs and Timmy were bowling today, and they were all over Lloydie and I in the net. So yeah, it's been pretty competitive.
Yeah, nice. So just looking forward to the season, and hopefully we get started at some point.
Absolutely.
It's nice to have you, Cookie.
Thanks,
in the background, it's nice to have you. And we're joined at the end by Mesh. But
cool.
Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, guys.